Hi, this is Kent with the AppCode blog. Today I'm starting a new series of tutorials designed at helping the beginner learn their way around storyboards. Storyboards are great for laying out the UI of our application, and so it's really good for the beginner to get up to speed on storyboards as quickly as possible. We're going to be creating a single view application and then changing it to be a tabbed application. And at the same time, we're going to take a look at how easy it is to change what they call the initial view controller of our application. And all that means is the first view that the user is going to see once the splash screen goes away. So let's go ahead, go to Xcode, create a new project. Let me resize my window here so you can see it all. I'm going to create a single view application. I'm going to name it Storyboard Demo. I'll just go ahead and save it in my local source control. And working with storyboards means we need to find our main.storyboard file over here and just click on it. It's going to open our storyboard in our editor area here. I'm going to close our navigator so we have no more room there to see. And Xcode 6, kind of a new thing happened here. They started giving you your view controllers and your views here in the storyboard at a one-size-fits-all kind of size here. You can see it's kind of a square size here, and it makes it easy if you want to design an app that will run on any device, size independent. But for our purposes, we want to be able to see as much as possible in this editor area. So I'm going to change this to be an iPhone 4 size, just like that. Now I want to add a label to this view because we're going to be adding a couple other views and we want to be able to distinguish between them. But you can't add any elements to a view if it's not zoomed in to be 100%. See, right now we're at 50%. And if I try to add any UI elements to this view, like the label or a button, it's not going to let me. So I have to zoom into 100%. I can either do that by right-clicking over here and zoom to 100%, or I can do it by double-clicking in the background here, and it'll zoom in. Double-click again, and it'll zoom out. That's an easy way to do it. So now that I'm at 100%, let's add a label. And our label is just I'm going to align it center. And I'm going to label it as single view. And then I'm just going to place it. Always get in the habit of using these blue guides, because as you move along, you will find that these really come in handy when you start using auto layout. I'll do a tutorial on auto layout some here in the future, but for now, just add your label here in the middle of the view. And then I'm going to also change the background color to be blue. Now I'm going to go ahead and run this app so that you can see what happens. Our simulator is going to fire up. It's going to start opening our app, and it's going to display a splash screen real quick, and then it's going to go to our view here with the blue background. This view with the blue background and the label is called our initial view controller, because it's the first view that gets displayed in our app. So here you see our simulator, and there's our splash screen, and then finally it's going to show our initial view controller. There it is. So that's all I wanted to show you there. And our initial view controller here in Storyboard, you can see which one it is by this arrow pointing to it. That always points to the initial view controller. Now right now we don't have any other views for it to point to. We're going to change that. We want to change this app to be a tabbed application, so we're going to drag tab bar controller out here. And because those are so large, I'm going to go ahead and change those to be the iPhone 4 size as well. And then I'm going to drag those. Now one thing great about our document outline over here is we can select multiple things at one time, which I'm going to do right here. I'm going to select all my view controllers, and that way I can move them all at once. and I just moved it underneath our original view there. Here you can see what we have. I can also select them by clicking in the header here. Move them a little bit closer. Okay, so here's what we have in our storyboard so far. Now, we talked about the initial view controller. One way to change that is by grabbing this arrow and simply dragging it to another view. Now we're pointing at our tab bar controller, and that made it the initial view controller. So now if we run our app, you'll see that the tab bar comes up. There's our splash screen again. And here's our tab bar. Now we haven't done anything to the views yet to be able to tell them apart, so it's kind of confusing. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, we've got to go to 100%. And then we're going to add a label. I'm going to call this tab bar 1 view. Stretch it out, we can see it, align it center, and place it. Now I'm also going to change the background here to be light gray. And now I want to put a label on the other view as well, so I'm going to hold down the Option key. Click here and just drag. It makes a copy of it. Very convenient. Can change this to be tab bar 2 view. Place it, and we'll change the background color of this one as well. Okay, now if we run the app, you'll really be able to see the difference in the views. So splash screen. And now our tab bar controller with our view 1 and our view 2. Now what happens if we wanted to see that original view again? Well, as I showed you before, one way to do that is to drag this arrow over there. But there's another way you can also do this, and that is to select the view you want to go to. You can either select here by clicking in the header, or I can select it over here in the document outline. And then over here under the attributes inspector, you see I can check next to where it says is initial view controller. And you can see it changed the arrow there. Just run it again. And we're back to our blue view being the initial view controller. Now, sometimes as you move on and you have a lot of views in your storyboard, you could go, 5 or 6 views deep, but you want to add something to one of the views that's pretty deep in the tree, and you want to test just something on that view. Well, it's very easy just to move the arrow to that view, start your application, and it's going to fire up and only show that tab bar 1 view because we set it as the initial view controller. Bang. So that's pretty cool. That comes in handy sometimes when you're developing and debugging. Let's go ahead and make our tab bar the initial view controller. And because we want this application to be a tab bar controller, the last thing I'm going to do here is just grab this view controller, either way, either there or click on the header of it, and I'm just going to hit the delete key, and it's going to go away. Now we're left with just a very simple little tab bar app. Alright, we're going to leave it there for now, and when we come back in the next episode of this series, we'll add on to this. So please keep this somewhere where you can find it, because we're going to do a number of tutorials here and continue to add on to this as we learn more about the storyboard. Thanks for coming, and please visit my blog, which is at theappcodeblog.com. Let me see if I can, I've got a URL here, there we go, so you can see it. Bear with me here. There you go. So this is where you can go and see my online blog where there's a lot of tutorials and a lot of things that you can learn there. I hope this was helpful for you, and please come back as we continue the series. Thanks a lot.